Something we're going to do a couple of times today. So clap once if you hear me. Clap twice if you hear me. All right, good. We'll do that a couple of times. So first off, just some housekeeping. I'm going to adjust this. I feel like I'm too loud. I don't know if I am or not. Move it down here a little bit. Maybe that'll be better. All right, so a few things they wanted me to make announcements about. First off, if you haven't paid for your parking, and that's a really good thing because we've got a code for you. So the code to pay for your parking, you probably want to write this down if you haven't already. D is in David. H is in Henry. B is in Boyd. N is in Nora. And P is in Paul. That's going to be the code to get your license, your parking paid for free. So to do that, there are QR codes all around the parking lot. So the other housekeeping thing, we've swapped rooms. I think that was probably an eye on what emotional intelligence is. And I want you to, before we ever get started, I want you to think about ways that we talk about this that you can apply not only to your professional life, but also to your personal life as well. So we're going to try to blend those two things the best we can, and we'll talk more about it. But as I said, it's going to be an hour and a half, and it's going to be similar to drinking from a fire hose. Okay, so that's going to be what this is going to feel like. I'm going to throw a lot of information at you, and it'll feel like this. Maybe it'll feel like this. So you might get your shirt wet a little bit, so that's the bad news. We're going to be throwing a bunch of information, and you may get your shirt wet. My plan is to hopefully cut you all out a few minutes early, because I know lunch is next, and lunch is really important, and if you can beat the group next door that you all chose not to go to, it's good, maybe a good choice for you. We're going to try to cut out just a little bit early, but I'm not going to promise that because I do get long-winded, as you can already tell sometimes. So I'll try to get you all out a few minutes early and get over there quick, but it's going to be a lot of information. A few class expectations, just so you know what this is going to be like. First off, we're going to talk about emotional intelligence. If that's not your thing, just know that we're focusing on the theory of this, okay? So how can you apply it? So hopefully you can take something away that you like. So it's going to be educational. I don't want to have any confrontation. If you want to have a discussion after class about anything, be happy to do that. But I don't want that. I don't want a confrontation here. The next one is if there's something that pushes a button for you and you think I need some kind of mental health or anything, I am not that. Okay, so I'm here to talk you through some different concepts. And I've never claimed to be that guy, but I do want you to know that we'll provide some resources for those things. So don't let this take the place of any kind of counseling you might need. My background is in law enforcement, and I'll tell you all kind of what I do and what I've done, and that kind of stuff in just a second. But I do use for this class specifically, it's an hour and a half. We're going to just play 2 videos, but those 2 videos are going to be law enforcement and some decisions that they make. And we're going to evaluate those and hopefully be able to look at from an emotional intelligence aspect. And we're not here to Monday morning quarterback. We're not here to make fun of those people. But I just want to make that clear. We're using these videos not to make fun, but to learn from them. And then lastly, I hope that you all will give me some feedback. Okay, so when we're talking and I ask a question, I hope that maybe a few of you will be willing to give me some of your knowledge, because there's a lot more knowledge on this side of the room than there is on this side, right? So I hope that we can learn from each other's experiences in here, and that's what my goal always is that I leave, selfishly, I get to leave with something too, right? So hopefully we can use each other's experiences and learn from that. Last thing, those videos that I mentioned, if anybody's sensitive or triggered by any kind of violence or loud noises or anything like that, just when we get ready to play a video, you can do 2 things. You can either plug your ears, put your head down, or you can step out. No sweat off my back, not going to bother me, not going to bother anybody else in here. Just take care of you. All right, are we all good? All right, great. Yeah, that's where that feedback thing comes in. Awesome, we're doing great so far. So I told you all that I'm not the person to give you any kind of mental health, but these are some resources that are there. So I usually hand these out on a handout, but I was doing an hour and a half. I didn't want to have to, and luckily with the technical difficulties that we had here, the delays, I didn't have that, so I would ask that everybody take a picture of that, and I'll tell you why I want you to take a picture of that. I want you to take a picture of it because we're going to talk about emotions and how stress plays and all of those sort of things here in just a second, but I want you to take a picture of that because the average person, I'll ask, this will be more of that conversational thing we were talking about a minute ago. How many traumatic events do you think the average person faces in their lifetime? Anybody? How many? A lot? Okay, the average, I'm not talking about the average person in public service, in the first responder world, just the average person. How many do you think, a number? 2, 3, 5, getting a bunch of those, that's pretty close. So the average person, I'm sorry, I'll move this out of your way. You're all sitting in the front, very few people sitting in the front, so I appreciate everybody doing that. The average person faces 4 traumatic events throughout their lifetime. This is a recent stat I've just seen, and I just think it's very interesting and very telling to support why we do this, but the average first responder, how many traumatic events do you think the average first responder faces every 6 months? Too many to count, somebody said? How many do you think on a number? 15, 8, okay, you guys are working some really busy areas. The average, argument on this top end we're going to talk about in just a second, the average first responder faces 3.5 every 6 months. So again, we want to make that comparison. Traumatic events, the average person over their whole lifetime, and I say normal, I think you all know what I mean by that, but it's a normal person over their lifetime faces 4. The average first responder, right? So we're taking into account places that aren't near as busy as whoever said 15 or 20 and all those things, but the average first responder has 3.5 every 6 months. On the top end, over a whole career, now these numbers aren't going to commute out because we're talking about the top end now, okay? But on the top end, over a career, a first responder can face as many as 400. So that's some of the numbers that you all were mentioning there a minute ago. That adds up. But 400 traumatic events over their lifetime, right? 4 average person, 400 top end first responders. So I say that to say the reason I want you to have these is there is a chance that hopefully through some emotional intelligence and some self-awareness, you all may find yourself in a spot where you go, oh, I took a picture of that in class, in that conference block that I was in, and I'm going to look that up. But the even more likely thing that will happen is you're going to have one of your teammates, right? One of our coworkers are going to be going through some stuff, and they may not even be aware that they're going through it. Or maybe they are aware and they're so they're impacted by the stigma so much they keep that to themselves. Taking a picture of this and just having it somewhere saved on your phones in your favorites can give them a bunch of free resources. I'll say that again because that's really important, right? Because we're all dummies and we went in public service. We don't make any money, so free resources that we can use and hopefully help save somebody. Hopefully get somebody the help they need. So I've got these. If anybody that wants me to email it to them afterwards, I'll send you all this stuff. But these are all a Google search, right? I'm not doing anything spectacular here. I just want to put that in your hands and let you all have it because of anything and I'm not dogging anything that anybody else is going to talk about, anything I'm going to talk about, but of anything that you leave this conference with, this might be the most important piece of information. So I just encourage you all to keep that somewhere where you know where it's at. So I do have one rule. I don't like rules, so I just have one, and that is if I say something that offends somebody in this room, you have 2 ways to go about it. You can raise your hand and stop me right in the middle of whatever I'm talking about and say, hey, that was it, that was the thing, and I will apologize to you in front of everybody. I'll tell you why in just a second. Or you can break me in the middle, you can stop me on a break, and I'll apologize to you in front of the crowd that we can gather there. And I do that not to be soft, not because I want you to like me, but because there is a good chance that I'm going to leave here and I won't see any of you all again. Right? There's a good chance that that'll happen. We may never cross paths. Some of you, we may run into each other on occasion, but I don't want you to leave here with the burden of something I said bothering you. And I don't want to leave here with the burden of you telling me that and not apologizing up front. So that's why I do that. Not to be soft, not to be touchy-feely, just so we're all leaving here feeling good about what we just did. All right? Are we all good? All right, good deal. So I'll tell you a little bit about me. My name is Charles Hedgespeth. I'm here with Level Up 911. My background is in law enforcement. I've been with and I always get kind of confused on whether I can say who I work for or not, but anything I say does not reflect my full-time job. It reflects that of Charles Hedgespeth, Level Up 911, Bridge Runner, training and consulting. So everything I say today represents that, but my full-time job is as I occupy a lieutenant's office at the Kentucky State Police Academy. So my background is law enforcement, been in law enforcement for about 11 and a half, 12 years now. And I've been in public service for 15 on March 1st. So I don't have any experience as a telecommunicator, as a dispatcher. So I always like to say that up front because I'm not trying to tell anybody that I know how to do your job. And I want to make sure I'm really clear. I don't think I would be good at your all's job. Okay, so I think it's a very challenging job, and it takes a certain kind of person to be able to do that. So I appreciate what you all do. That's the last time I'm going to say it because I've been accused of saying that too much, that I don't do what you do. So I've said it, and I'm done now. But outside of law enforcement, I also teach at 2 local colleges. I've been on with Level Up 911 for a little over a year now, I think. And my friend Jason Long, he started the business up. He bullied me into coming aboard, and so we've done that. So how many of you have been in a Level Up training before? Okay, several of you, good. So hopefully that was a good experience for you, and that's why you're here, and hopefully you can go tell Jason that this was a good experience too. But any complaints you have about Jason, he's here, you can give those to him. But any feedback you want to give to either one of us about today will be great. But appreciate you all coming in here. Now that's about me professionally. That's all you really probably more than you care to know. But this is me personally. This is what I want to talk about because I do want to blend these two things. Okay. So this is me on Black Friday in 2023. I went Black Friday shopping in 2024 as well, but my wife didn't take a cool picture for me to use without me knowing. So these two right here are my daughters. This is the butt crack of dawn, right? I hate to be technical, but that was what time it was. I was up with them, and I did that because they're the most important thing to me, okay? I've got this one right here is my 17-year-old, and this one on this side is my 13-year-old, Ava and Bella. Ava's 17, Bella's the 13-year-old. So they're the most important thing to me. I'm also married. I've been married for 18 years, consecutive years. With no breaks in service, so I'm pretty proud of that. She married me, and we joined the state police together. We moved across the state. We moved back home. It's been a whole thing. I'm currently at the academy. It takes a lot of my time. She allows me to come here, so I'm extremely blessed in that aspect. And so if you all do run into her, make sure you tell her that I said that. Her name's Amy. I'll give you all her social media later, just so you can tell her how nice I said all the things I said about her. But that's the most important thing to me. And I want to bring that up because I do think too often we get wrapped up in the idea that, oh, when I go to work, I turn on work mode. And when I go home, I'm in home mode. And as much as we want to say that, and that's a good mindset to have, that's just not always true. It's not always possible. So I want you to focus today on changes maybe, or some, not even changes, just some awareness that we can do at home. So when we come to work, we're prepared for whatever's going on at home, and vice versa. When we come home from work, we're not bringing that home and letting that dictate what kind of emotions we're feeling at the house. So that's me. That's what I'm doing here. Here's a bunch more pictures. I am unfortunately a Dolphins fan, so I say that. I feel like I can go a couple ways here. I really like our current quarterback, so I don't know if this is the right area of Alabama to talk about that. And if it's not the right area to talk about, you're a Dolphins fan too? Okay, I'm very sorry. But if that's not the right side, right, if we don't want to say Roll Tide right now, we want to say War Eagle, I will let you know for the majority of the last 10 to 15 years, I have hated Nick Saban. So, because he left the Dolphins. Not because I don't like anything else, and nobody jump me right now. So depending on which one you want to hear, that's what I want you to leave here with. So anyway, so that's just a different picture. So one thing I do want to point out is this is something really cool that Jason just recently retired, but one thing really cool that Jason let me do at the academy is start training in our telecommunicator basic academy. And between the two of us, we did some really innovative stuff, I think pretty innovative stuff at the academy. And one of those is we started training nutrition. That's what we're teaching down here to a basic telecommunicator class. And then we also started doing functional movements with them, just basic movements, how to stay healthy, and that's what we're doing up there. So just a little something. So I've got 2 videos I'm going to play. We're going to watch them with no sound, a very small portion, and we're not going to talk about them after they play. We're going to watch them again after we get done. Okay, so I just want you to watch what happens in this video. We're going to play one more, watch what happens in it. No sound, it's not broke. No sound. Just think about what you see, and then we'll apply as we go. Okay, so here's the first one. Not going to give you any context either. I'm going to be a real prick about this. So, some of you may have seen this video. I will tell you the gun did just go bang. So I will say that in that video. Okay, so that's one. Now let's play this one. All right, great. So now we're going to put those into context just in a little while. So just put those in your psychic crock pot and think about those for just a second. But at the very end of the class, we'll talk about them. So now switching gears again, how many of you are familiar with the term deep water training? Is anybody familiar with that term as it applies like to strength and conditioning, athletic training, or anything like that? So what that means is, in like the strength conditioning athletic world, when we talk about deep water training, we're preparing for the 4th quarter, the 9th inning, the last round of a championship fight, all of those different analogies you want to do. We're preparing for that last round when you're the most tired, can you still go, basically, okay? So that's what deep water training is. And I've got a little background in strength conditioning, but I never liked this phrase deep water training, because I think specifically when we train from the aspect of a first responder, we're training a lot more for riptide training, right? Because a riptide is unexpected. It's violent. It pulls up and grabs you, and it pulls you down when you're not ready for it. You're not expecting it. We know that the 4th quarter, we know that the 12th hour of the shift, the 8th hour of the shift, whatever kind of shifts you work, the 16th hour, and so on and so on. We know that all those are there. We know we're going to be tired, and we're going to have to function under stress when we're tired. But what we can't be prepared for is for the riptide. We can't be ready for the unexpected, right? We can't expect the unexpected. We have to hope that our training prepares us for that. So that's what we're doing. We're preparing ourselves for the unexpected. So everything we talk about today is going to work in the world of wellness, okay? It's going to be one aspect of wellness, but we're going to check a bunch of different boxes. So when I say wellness, what does that mean to you all? Okay, I'm going to try to also totally blind. What'd you say? Taking care of yourself. Okay, what else? What does wellness mean? Well, drinking more water. Yeah, that definitely plays a part, right? What else? Oh, sorry. What else? Anybody? Exercise? Yeah, that definitely plays in. What else? Somebody over here give me one. Diet? Okay, you were getting ready to say something, so I'm going to let you. Come on, give me something for wellness. I'll give you $50 to spend at the casino night.
Mental health.
Are you going to be here for casino night? Okay, I'll give you $50. Give me one thing that you think is wellness related.
Sleep.
Okay, she said sleep. She's a ventriloquist. She said sleep, so that was great. Yeah, so sleep is part of it. Thank you. I'll give you $50. So let me find my. All right, here's $50. Even though you spoke out of the side of your mouth and it really wasn't you, I'm going to give it to you because I put you on the spot. So there you go. Yeah. All right, and whoever else actually said that, I'll get you in just a second. But when we think about wellness, a lot of times we go straight to what physical wellness is, right? A lot of you all said that, diet, and even sleep, which checks a bunch of different boxes as well. But we said physical, there's financial wellness. Again, I mentioned earlier, we're all in public service. Probably didn't think that one through a lot, but when we talk about financial wellness, that's today, not just today, but also tomorrow, like the future. Next is our social wellness. We will check that box today. Spiritual wellness, we'll check that box, and specifically at the very end of the day, we'll check that box. And then emotional, which is going to be the big focus of today. So like I said, we know we're going to hit on these three, right? We're talking about emotional intelligence. It makes sense that we talk about all three of those aspects of wellness. I'm going to give you one thing at the end of the day that's going to require no physical exertion on your part that can help us with our physical wellness as well, okay? So today, I'm not going to give any financial advice, but I think that the things we talk about can check 4 of our 5 boxes for us. as far as our wellness is concerned. And we're going to talk about whole body wellness, okay? So when I say whole body, I'm talking about our body, our mind, our heart, and our spirit, okay? So it's all-encompassing wellness. We're not just talking about physical. We're not just talking about emotional. We want to focus on the whole thing. And that's why we're trying to hit all of those boxes that we can. Real quick, get out a piece of paper. If you have paper, if no, get out your phone. And I want you to write, I think you know what your name is, but I want you to write something you're excited for, and I want you to write something that has been great recently. And that word great is important. Something you're excited for that's coming up in the future, and something that was great recently. What I would like for you to do, I know everybody's not going to do this because we're all weird in our own way, because I wouldn't do it if I was sitting where you're sitting. I would like for you to look around and find somebody you don't know. Tell them your name, tell them what you're excited for, tell them it's great. You have 1 minute, as soon as I push this button, you have 1 minute to find that person and tell them. So 1 minute, go. Y'all can try it out. So somebody tell me, who met somebody new today? All right. Oh, a lot of people. Great. You all actually did it. That's pretty cool. Thank you all. Nobody ever does it. You are the best group I've ever had. So who did that? Do it right again. We'll start. I gave you a sticker earlier. No? Okay, so right here. Who did you meet? Dawn. Dawn? Okay, what did Dawn, what's recently, or what's been great recently for Dawn? Okay. So that's a really good example. It'll tie into some of the recognition we're going to talk about, because that's glass half full, right? That could be glass half empty. I laughed so hard, I peed myself. Like it all in his hands, so that's a great. So thank you. There's you $50, and I'll give you a sticker too. So all right. Who else met somebody new today? All right. Who'd you meet? Anthony? All right, what was the first one? What's Anthony excited for? Congratulations. Getting married? Yeah. All right. All right, well, I'm going to give away the last $50 for this one. I'm going to give you one, and I'm going to give you one for you. Hopefully you'll win. Are you going to casino on? Okay, great. Hopefully you'll win some money for that honeymoon. All right, who else met somebody on this side? Who met somebody new? Who'd you meet? Caitlin? All right, what's been great recently for Caitlin?
Switch from night shift to day shift.
Oh, day shift. Yeah, awesome. Yeah. Again, that where you stand depends on where you sit. How many of you went to day shift and been like, this is going to be great? And then you get to day shift and you're like, these people are weird. And just me? Okay, just me. So not anybody else you work with. Yeah. Give me one more over here. Who met somebody new? Who'd you meet? Nikki? Who's Nikki? Nikki? All right. What's Nikki excited for? Oh, yeah, that's a good thing. Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I'll give you one too, because that's a big move. So, all right, great. Yeah. So this is hopefully this will make sense. Why being excited in greatness? Greatness is important, all right? And like I said, the different perspectives on these things, because all of these are great perspectives. It could be a sad moment, depending on where you're at with your son, you know, what stage we're in with our child, and he's moving out. So it can all be different. So both of my kids are still at home, and I'll be excited when they're gone, because not because I want them gone, but because I'm excited to see where life takes them. I'm excited for that. So it doesn't necessarily mean that Nikki, right? Okay, so it doesn't mean Nikki doesn't love her son. It means she's excited to see where he's going. So nobody judge Nikki right now, right? So the next thing I want you to do is with that same partner, we're going to do we're going to make this as quick as possible. So I'm going to put a picture up here on the board. I want one person, you all decide who that's going to be, to put their head down where you can't see the screen. And the other person is going to describe what they see. Okay, we're going to do one evolution of this, so the other person does not have to go. So pick that, and then after you pick it, somebody put their head down. I want to see some heads start going down there. Who's going to talk? That's what we're going to focus on. And then the other part that's going to help us a lot here is this is the memory part. Specifically those last two bullet points that were up there, emotions and danger. So we're going to talk about those two specific parts of the brain. We're not even going to talk about them. I just want you to understand that's the parts of the brain that are operating in what we're talking about today. There are two systems to the brain. One of them, for our purposes, I'm not a PhD in this. If any of you all are, and I'm wrong, let me know. But for our purposes and my knuckle-dragging self, I want you to think about it like this. There's an instinctual part of the brain. The instinctual part, that's system one. All right, system one is instinct. So what percentage of our mental processing do you all think occurs in that instinctual side of things? 50? All right, got 50. Who else? What? 30, okay. It's actually, in the instinctual part, it's 95%, okay? So this is our primal instinct. It's why if I just took this water bottle and I threw it here at Michael, he would try to knock it down, right? Michael would knock the water bottle down rather than catch it because it's instinctual. I don't want to, it protects us in a lot of ways. That's the reason that part of the brain exists. The other part of the brain is our logical part, system 2. It's our rational thinking part of our brain. And only 5% of our mental processing occurs there. So, and we're talking about naturally. So what we hope to do through some emotional recognition, specifically with our decision making, we want to knock this number down, right, and get this number up. These are rookie numbers on this side, right? 5% rookie numbers. We need to get those numbers up. So that's what we want to focus on. So with rational side, with Michael again here, I'm not going to throw my water ball at you because I just don't trust this top to not spill you. But if I told Michael, hey, I'm going to throw this at you, and I threw it, Michael would put his hands up just like that, and he would catch it. Right? Because now he's moved over from this instinctual part, safety, to move over to this rational part. Does that make sense to everybody? All right, good. Has anybody lost so far? Good. All right, good. At least you're not going to say it out loud if you are. So when we say stress, okay, when we talk about stress, think about all these different things, the parts of the brain we've talked about. What is stress? What is stress to you? Not what stresses you out, but what is stress? It is an emotion. There's definitely some emotional impact there. But for again, small brain me, I've got to make things simple. Stress is pressure. Okay, so if we talk about high stress would be high pressure. Yeah, exactly. Good. So stress is pressure. High stress is high pressure. It doesn't matter if we're talking about physical science and we're going to put pressure on something to smash it down, or if we're talking about psychological and the mental stress that we all go through. It's the same kind of principle. It's still pressure, right? I think we can all agree that we've experienced that. There are there's a lot of physical changes that happen to us under stress. But 4 of those changes that we're going to talk about specifically today, what's one that you all think of immediately?
Weight gain.
Say that. Somebody raise your hand so I can hear who's saying that. Anybody? There we go. Well, go ahead. What you got? Mental? So you have okay, yeah, mental stress for sure. Physical changes. What do you have back there?
Weight gain.
Weight gain? Okay, yeah, that's one. The 4, go ahead, what do you got back there?
Change in sleep. Change in sleep.
Okay, change in sleep. Yeah, all those are definitely, those are all physical changes. What do you got? What? Oh, great. Yeah, for sure. All those are physical changes. The 4 specific ones we're going to talk about today, and we're going to relate back to those videos we played first, is an increase in our heart rate. How many of you experienced that? Everybody in the room, right? We've all experienced that. The other one, rapid breathing. All 4 of these physical changes cause some of these other ones that you all talked about, right? These are the four big ones that happen while we're under the stress. Specifically, high stress, high pressure. Rapid breathing. Next, tunnel vision. Tunnel vision. And this last one, hopefully we can relate it to that first video we watched in just a second, but the loss of fine motor skills. The loss of fine motor skills. And some of you may have experienced something like that before when you you're either personally or professionally, when you went through something that's a high stress, your legs kind of get like where they get a little jiggly, a little jello-like. You can't really find your footing. The same thing can be said for our fingers. I recently reviewed a body cam footage of a officer that had been attempted to be drowned. And he had his gun taken away, and luckily the perpetrator made the decision not to kill him that day. But while that officer was laying there, he gets on the radio and he's screaming, I'm hurt, I can't walk. I can't walk, I'm hurt. And people drive, as dumb cops do. We drive 100 miles an hour to go do something. We don't know what we're going to do when we get there. We drive 100 miles an hour to get there. And when they got there, he got up and walked to the ambulance. This is what that was, okay? This is what happened to him. And because he was unaware of his emotions, he was unaware of how scared he was, he couldn't react and he couldn't articulate what was going on. And all this being said, it's science, okay? That's what Ron Burgundy just said there. It's science. So emotional intelligence now, you actually get into what it is. So when we think about intelligence, we usually think about people being smart. We relate that to smart, a smartness, and we also relate being smart to success. But what's been found, IQ is, for our purposes in this room today, it's fixed. It's the same at 17 as it is at 71, for our purposes today. Again, I keep bringing up PhD because they're educated. They may come in the room and say, well, if you take this many graduate hours, so on and so forth, your IQ will go up so many points. For us in this room today, IQ is fixed. It's not a workable skill for most of us. So what studies have shown is that people with average IQs outperform those with the highest level of IQs 70% of the time. So that's good news for if you're like me, right? If you're just a guy that's like I always refer to myself as a booger eater, and just so if I say that, I'm not talking about literally, okay? Not literally eating my boogers, but just give you kind of a gauge of where I'm at in my head. So if you're like me, that's really good news. Emotional intelligence, our emotional quotient, is what is the difference. So I want to talk about what emotional intelligence actually is. Emotional intelligence, everybody's doing, is analyzing emotions in yourself and others, using that information to control our behavior and relationships. So again, to hopefully not upset the people next door, let's do this together. So I want you to say, everybody put their hands out in front of them like this. Everybody put them out here. I hate this stuff too. Don't worry if you hate doing this right now. I hate it too. And I'm in front of all of you, and I should feel sillier than everybody. So, analyzing. Say it. Emotions. Everybody do this. In ourselves. And others. This is cool because you get to kind of do the gun fingers, right? Then using that information to control our behavior. Another clap coming in. And relationships. All right, good. Let's do it one more time. Analyzing. Emotions. In ourselves. Good job. Everybody's got it. You all passed. So I won't make anybody do that again. Unless you really want to. Then we'll do it. We'll all meet up out here later and just start clapping. So analyzing emotions in yourself and others. Use that information to control our behavior and relationships. So we've got a very easy definition here. I want you just to think about this. We're not going to spend a lot of time because I am trying to get through this. But analyzing emotions in yourself. Why would that be important? Why is it important to analyze emotions in ourselves? What'd you say? So you don't project on other people. What else? Know what you react to. Some self-awareness in there. Yeah, exactly. So what about and others and using that information to control our behavior and our relationships? We know why it's important to control our behavior, I think, right? And there's a class on ethics at some point this week. You can go sit in that, and I'll answer that question for you. But when we say behavior and relationships, I want you to think about that broadly. I keep bringing up professional and personal, but I want you to think about